New York strip steak on the Pit Boss Pro Series Elite 1600 Smoker. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Pit Boss Backyard Bosses. My name is Andrew, better known as the Grill Sergeant. You may remember me from such films as Planet of the Greats and The Shawshank Redemption. Now, whether you're new into backyard grilling or you're a seasoned pitmaster, you really can't beat a thick-cut, flame-kissed steak. Ooh, it's good. Now, to do this steak right, we are going to be using the Pit Boss Pro Series Elite 1600 Smoker. With the smoke mode, rapid fire igniter, and the sear function, we're going to have all the fire and flame we need to do this steak right. What I love most about this Pit Boss is its quick startup times and the pull-out grates. If you want to step up your barbecue game, you can definitely check out this Pit Boss at Lowe's. So with all that being said, let's prep this New York strip steak. All right, let me get my gloves on. Now let's talk about our beef. I have here a thick cut New York strip, and I went with the grass-fed option. Personally, I think grass-fed actually has a really rich beef flavor taste to it. So this one, very, very thick, and you're gonna see a lot of inner muscular fat. So fat equals flavor. Now, as far as seasonings go, we are just gonna keep it simple with using Pit Boss's Chophouse steak rub. Now, this rub pairs very well with steaks and burgers, in my opinion. It has the perfect amount of salt and garlic and onion and paprika just to make that beef flavor really, really come through. All right, now that the steak is patted down, let's go in for the seasoning. Now I'm going to pat down the rub. I'm going to flip it over. And again, pat down the steak. And now what I like doing is I like putting a line of seasoning down on the cutting board, and then I'll pick the steak up so we can use that to start coating all sides of the steak. Now, you really want to do this part before you actually turn on the smoker, and that is going to give about 15 to 20 minutes for all these spices to really start getting into the meat. So we're going to let the Pit Boss seasoning do its thing. Let's turn on the smoker. For pellets, I'm going to be using Pit Boss's Hickory pellets. Those are going to give a nice smoke flavor even at these high temps. So now let's prep the inside of the grill. Now, I absolutely love these pull-out grates, but I'm going to take out this middle rack to help with our cook today. All right, so with the lid open, I'm going to come down here to the control board. I'm going to hit the power button. Under the settings menu, under P setting, I'm going to go to smoke mode and turn this up to 7. And for the temp, we're going to crank this all the way up to 500 degrees. Now, you all think I'm kidding with you, but this thing heats up super, super fast. A pro tip I can give you guys is I like actually removing the burn pot and putting in some fresh pellets in the burn pot before I turn on the smoker, and you will cut your startup time by half. Try it out. That's a good Grill Sergeant tip there for you. Once there's a fire in the burn pot, we can close down the lid and let it come up to temp. Now that we got a roaring flame going in the burn pot, we can close down the lid and have this thing come up to temp. Now, while you're waiting for the smoker to heat up, this is where I'll grab all the tools I'll need to get the cook done. You're going to grab your tongs, you're going to grab your probes, foil, cutting board, knife, anything that you're going to use during the cook. I'll grab it now, and right now I'm going to show you something I like doing with aluminum foil to help rest the steak. So you're going to get some foil here. I'm going to pull up about this much. Now, foil is going to have the really shiny side, and then if you flip it over, it's going to have the dull side. We want the dull side facing up. We're going to fold this in half. I'm going to take the sides, and I'm going to fold them just like this. I'm going to fold the other side just like this. And now what we made is a little foil tent. And when our steak is going to be pulled. It's actually going to rest in here. And then once you're done doing this, you can actually wear it on top of your head and we can talk about all the conspiracy theories you want. All right, I think that smoker is up to temp. Let's go get our meat on the grill. Woo! All right, guys, we are almost up to 500 degrees. I like putting the steak on just before it hits 500 just because that burn pot is still going to be ripping hot to try to get it up to temp. And one thing you'll notice about the steak is if you look at the top of it, it almost has a wet look to it. That is letting us know that pretty much all the salt is now breaking down and penetrating inside the steak. That's a very good sign. So let's open up this burn pot and get to work. Woo! I'm just gonna place it right on top here. Man, and even just standing from here, the amount of heat that is coming off of this, it is so intense right now. We're gonna be searing about 2 minutes per side. All right, it's been 2 minutes. We're gonna come in here. We're gonna flip it to the other side. All right, it's been 2 minutes. Let's look at, oh, look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. Like seeing that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open up the top rack. Again, you don't want to actually use your hand or that small glove. It will burn you like there's no tomorrow. But we're gonna get this steak and we're gonna place it onto the top rack. I'm gonna close down the burn pot right now, and now let me go get a probe. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to find where the center of the steak is and hold here with my thumb. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna slide and then put this probe in. I'm going to put this back in. And now we are going to shut the grill. So down here, it is saying the internal temperature of the steak is at right now about 105. And we are gonna pull this steak about 10 degrees shy of what we actually like the steak cooked to. So for me, my target temp is 135 is how I like my steak cooked to. So at 125 is when I'm gonna be pulling that steak to let it rest. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna go inside and clean this cutting board. All right. Now I'm gonna get my tent ready for the steak. All right, the temp is hitting 125. So now I'm going to pull this out. Again, you really don't want to touch anything. You don't want to touch the probe. You don't want to touch the grate. It's going to be really, really hot. Pretty much holding here, I can then pull out the temperature probe. And now I can pick up this steak and then we're going to put it inside our tent. All right, I'm going to put it inside and we're going to close this up. And now we wait. We're gonna give this about 10 minutes for it to come up to temperature. That is gonna help the internal temperature rise to that perfect medium rare. And then at this point, you can remove the probe and shut down the smoker. It's gonna take about 10 minutes or so to have this thing fully shut down. All right, it's been 10 minutes. Let's go carve into the steak. All right, let's open up our little meat tent here. And then you don't want to get rid of these juices. You can basically put this right back onto that steak. All right, let's carve in, see how I did. Oh, beautiful. Man, it don't get better than that. I'm gonna take some salt and then just lightly sprinkle some salt on the top. All right, now it's time for my favorite part, the taste test. If you guys haven't checked out Pit Boss's Chophouse steak rub, you're missing out. Flavor is just through the roof. So juicy, so tender.
Wow, that's a really good steak.
Right? So what do you think of the beef? This is grass-fed. What do you think?
It's like the beef has a good flavor.
Right? It's like very, very, like when you think of beef, like this is definitely
My first thought.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. This was a short, fun, quick cook, and the flavor is through the roof. You can't beat that. Make sure to subscribe to this Pit Boss YouTube channel so you can learn all the tips and tricks for backyard grilling. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Time to go feed the family. But it actually might not make it till I get in. It's just so good.